and welcome to West Coast Radio. I'm your host, Yusuf Taylor. We are on the budget hour, 2024 budget hour to be precise. Today, this program is brought to you, supported by Gambia Participates with the U.S. Embassy in the Gambia. U.S. Embassy Banjul and Gambia Participates are the ones who are supporting this program. I'm your host, Yusuf Taylor, and we have a special guest because they are rare to come by. We've been trying hard to get some of them to come, but unfortunately, we've not been that lucky. So we have a special guest. Today we'll be talking about the Ministry of Trade. We have someone who knows exactly what it means to plan for the Ministry of Trade's budget. And with us today, I'll let him introduce himself. Thank you so much for coming and joining us, sir. Could you kindly introduce yourself?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me to join you and participate in this important program.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Omar Kanteh. I'm the Principal Planner and Head of Planning and Statistics at the Ministry of Trade. And it's always a pleasure for us to join these kind of programs and sensitize the general public about what the Ministry of Trade is doing, particularly on the budget preparation.
Indeed, indeed. And you were very willing to come, really. I must commend you for that, for coming on the program today. We couldn't have this program properly without someone like you talking to us. And of course, we're talking about the Ministry of Trade budget. Can you just kindly tell us a little bit about your role so that people know, because planning is your thing, and statistics, and obviously Ministry of Trade, there's a lot that goes in there when it comes with statistics and planning and all of that. Perhaps just a little bit so that people will be able to appreciate where we're going.
Thank you. With regards to my role at Ministry of Trade, basically is from planning perspective, is I'm responsible for preparation of the budget.
Okay.
And also coordinating its implementation, monitor its implementation, ensure that the plans, our work plans and our activities are in line with the National Development Plan, and also with regards to our sector policies as well. So basically that's what you do. You're trying to align and make sure that policies and programs and our work plans and budgets are all talking to each other.
Okay.
So that in general you can move. That is the planning part. The statistics part is another area where we are responsible for generating trade data, trade statistics, reports, etc. Industrial data, employment data. We are involved in all those areas.
So you're the guy where we are talking to the perfect guy when it comes to budget and planning, statistics or data. You are the right guy for us to talk to. Thank you so much. Everybody who is tuning in will have an opportunity for you to call in. But we would also want to set the ground and start and go for about 30 minutes. And then maybe allow 30 minutes or 15 minutes maximum, depending on how much we are trying to cover, to bring the people to ask questions. What languages do you speak, sir? Do you so that I can, get our people to...
I'm comfortable with Mandinka and Wolof.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect, great. So if you call, you can call and ask your question in Mandinka and Wolof. And also, because we also want people who perhaps may not be too, how could I say, comfortable with English to also be able to join the conversation. Okay, so we're going to move right into it. Ministry of Trade, this is from the budget speech. The Ministry of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment plays a pivotal role in enhancing the export market and facilitating access to international markets for Gambian products. The Ministry of Trade also supports agricultural value addition, small and medium-sized enterprises in adopting smart technologies and facilitates access to export financing. They also prioritize the establishment of accredited testing laboratories for both food and non-food products to help local producers meet global standards. Now, when you look at the approved budget, it stands at 42 billion for all funds. And GLF accounts for 29.2 billion. This means that about 12.8 billion is expected from loans and grants. So how much of the government local fund, that's the 29.2 billion, is actually going to Ministry of Trade this year, 2024, as opposed to last year? Well, this year, Ministry of Trade, before I answer that question, I'll let you answer that question, sir. Perhaps you are the right guy to answer that question. How much is going to Ministry of Trade? Has it increased? Are you guys dropping? Are they giving you more money?
Thank you very much. Well, really, for this year, we have reduced, it has dropped slightly. I can't call the figures offhand, especially the numbers that comes after the... Last year, we received almost 116 million in terms of 2023. And this year, we're receiving 114 million plus some other amount. So it has reduced slightly by around 2 million or so.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And in terms of percentage allocation from the GDP or the total budget, it's almost like 0.26% of that amount. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, when I look at the budget, it was showing me that you guys have 116 million this year compared to 137 million in the 2023 budget,
Yes.
which is a 15% decrease. But I think the figures we quoted, they are not so far from each other. That is this year. So perhaps maybe we'll go into that. But so what do you think? Now that you people have clearly, we are both saying that it has dropped. Yeah, the amount that has been allocated to Ministry of Trade has dropped. But most Gambians hearing $116 million. They will say, you people, you have enough money. You people, right now, you should be able to solve all the problems. Is that the case? Are you guys well?
Certainly not. Probably when we say Ministry of Trade, I think it's an error. Ministry of Trade comprises of several institutions. The actual name of the ministry is Ministry of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration, and Employment. And if you look at that ministry, you have 4 directorates that are within the ministry. And we have 4 departments. Sorry, we have 2 other departments. That is Department of Labor and Department of Weights and Measures. Those are another 2 departments that are also under the same, which are also getting their funds from this amount. At the same time, we have 3 agencies that are under the ministry. That is GAIPA, Standards Bureau, GCCPC, that is the Consumer Protection and Competition Authority.
Yeah.
So all these departments are under all these agencies are under the ministry. And this budget line is what is used to pay salaries, to pay operational costs, to pay everything. So from there alone, you will see that this is not a significant sum. And any reduction in that one affects the ministries seriously. It does not stop there. With the budget, this is a planned budget. And what you actually receive is different from what is budgeted for you. So monthly, like last year, if you look at accumulatively, we receive about, you talk about 137 million.
That was what was in the budget.
That was in the budget.
Yeah.
We receive about 57% of that amount.
Wow.
Not. Yes.
So that means you didn't receive the 137?
No, we did not receive the 137. We received about 57% of it. And even this year is going to be the same thing. Probably this year might be a little bit better, maybe 60% or so, but we are not expecting more than 70% of it to come down the ministry. So this is a challenge generally. So, and knowing the ministry's mandate, as I said, in most countries you go there, this ministry is at least 2 ministries. In some places it's even 3 ministries. In some countries you have industry is a ministry of its own. Trade is a ministry of its own. Maybe regional integration is joined in foreign affairs or somewhere else, or employment issues is a whole ministry of their own. So in the Gambia, all these are put together. Perhaps and this is what we have to.
Could it be because our size as well, maybe that's appropriate as well, perhaps, if at all we were a very big country, where, you know, we have a big sectors like our industry sector, the Gambia is not so far. Maybe is that perhaps the reason it's appropriate for Gambia? Some could argue.
Could be. Some can argue on that basis. But if you want to prioritize something also, you put it on the priority list. If you give it a minister, for example, I'm not saying the government would do that one, but I'm saying if you have a minister that is responsible for industry, whose daily work is to promote industrial promotion, it's going to be different from a minister who has to divide his time and energy among 4 or 5 different mandates and portfolios. So that's one. There is a good side of it, There are advantages in it, but there are disadvantages as well.
Thank you very much. Well spoken, well said. There, benefits are there and disadvantages are also there to doing that. So let's turn our attention to GAIPA, boosting investment in the Gambia. There is expected to be a new GAIPA Act and assistance in acquiring land for commercial purposes. The Minister of Finance highlighted that in his budget speech. A high-level technical committee is being formed to collaborate with regional governors and allocate land for commercial activities. And in their quest to facilitate investment and to address the challenges faced by investors in acquiring land for commercial activities, which is crucial for boosting economic productivity. So, investment.
This is a major challenge for attracting investment into the country.
Land.
Land, access to land. Government want to prioritize agricultural production. Government want to prioritize establishment of SEZs, special economic zones. Government want to prioritize even industries to be settled across the country. So you have to have a land available for these purposes.
Indeed.
And land, access to land has been a challenge for the ministry. So one of the strategies we adopted over the last 2 years is to try to get land allocated to the least to GAIPA in every region. And when an investor comes in now, GAIPA would work with those investors to get access to that land readily without having to go through that's one of the things that the ministry. And fortunately, we are getting positive feedbacks from many of the regions. I think at least 2 or 3 regions we already had GAIPA already secured land in those areas, and there are promises to get similar things in other regions. I know LRR, North Bank region, have already allocated land. CRR too, I'm aware that they have also allocated land for investment in this area. So this is what GAIPA want to do. Yeah.
And you guys are supporting them as one
the ministry, GAIPA is part of the ministry, and wherever we are part of that.
And you highlighted it with some of these others.
Yes.
So how much is being committed to this activity? You gave us some good specifics and that some progress is being made. Do you know how much? Because I couldn't find it in there.
No, it will not be GAIPA's budget. Yes. It's not like a breakdown budget, itemized budget. GAIPA's budget is a subvented budget. So whatever you see as a lump sum going to GAIPA, around that 23 million also going to GAIPA, part of it is going to salaries, part of this is going to these activities. So this would be one or two activities. You go around the whole country, talk to governors, talk to chiefs, talk to alcalis, and explain this idea to them, and some of them will come out and say, yes, we have land available here. You go and do the assessments, you do the feasibility studies, you identify the land, you lease it out, and you take it on the GAIPA's. Yeah. So that's how it takes time.
It takes time.
Yeah. In fact, for these lands that have already been allocated, I think it took us 2 years in that process
of negotiations
before we get the yes.
So special investment certificates, you did touch on it also. I just wanted us to conclude with GAIPA a little bit. In 2023, the government has provided incentives to 11 companies through the GAIPA Special Investment Certificate. These companies are projected to invest a total of $37.4 million, creating over 1,000 jobs. Most of these investments are concentrated in the manufacturing sector, and roughly half of them is led by domestic investors. So this is what was in the budget speech. Can you give us an idea how much was invested in 2023 by the government on this with regards to this special investment certificate? How much?
No, the special investment certificate does not go that way.
Okay.
What happened is government will decide that we will not charge certain taxes to this business person.
Yes.
So that you can invest that amount.
Yes.
So you come with a proposal.
Let me rephrase it.
Yes.
I think I
you come with that. Exactly.
What I was trying to say, if you give, are they tracking how much was invested by these companies?
Exactly.
Sorry, you are very right. The special investment certificate, you can. I think it's a good opportunity to also clarify. I'll let you continue, but I just wanted to, because I wrote it, and it seemed like what I was thinking and what I was writing was two different things. But you can, you get the question.
So basically, what they do is an investor would come and say, I have this amount of money and I want to invest. They come with a proposal. They develop their proposal.
Yes.
But if government gives me a tax break for 5 years or so, it will allow me to do this, it will allow me to do X, Y, Z. So they make that one as a proposal. We send that proposal to GAIPA and it's assessed there. After its assessment is sent to the minister, and ministry also looked at it, and the minister would eventually sign. And you are given that grace period of 5 years or 10 years to be able to do these investments. So what the ministry does from there now is there is a committee, a monitoring committee that is responsible for monitoring this, the implementation of the SIC now. So this will go to your business and see from yearly how much of what is going on. Even the employment, you see they say proposed employment. So you are saying, yes, if you give me all these things, I'll be able to employ 100 people.
Yes.
Yes. So we add all those figures among that. That's where
those figures
are coming from. Yes. So you eventually have to look at those figures and track them to see what is going on in the business eventually. So that's where we are, and we do those monitoring processes. Even though there are challenges with the monitoring, because everybody, I'm talking in the media, so most people will know about the challenges that are related to tracking those people and what are the challenges there, what the IMF and the World Bank is saying about these issues. There are challenges in relation to this thing, but the ministry is strengthening its capacity to be able to track this thing. This is one of the top priority of the permanent secretary. Even for this next year, he is now saying we have to increase the number of industrial economies to be able to track this, so that we decide, we will now divide. For example, if they give an SIC to one industrialist, at least there will be an officer whose daily work is to follow up with that person.
Yes. So currently that's not the case, or is there
no, now it's more like a committee.
Okay.
And the committee goes out once in 3 months to look at them. So you go there, they will start giving you excuses, they will tell you so you
haven't managed to get any
we do. What I'm saying is I want to make it clear that
before we
we have challenges.
I know it's very
but this is the
monitoring has always been a difficult thing. You know, even the budget, you know, they say they'll give you how many millions, but then they give you 57%
of that.
So that means it's like you can only do half.
It's a planning thing.
It's a planning thing.
It's a planning thing. And for Ministry of Trade, especially under the leadership of the current permanent secretary, his belief is that this budget is far below what the ministry needs to be able to function. And so the ministry must mobilize its own resources. And for the past years, that has been the secret at the Ministry of Trade. I'm telling you, the GLF, what we spend in a year, the GLF is maybe like 20% or 30% of that amount. Most of the other funds comes from our own resource mobilization with our donors and our partners across the country, across the international field. So that's where what we do is those are the main issues, main things that we do.
Thank you very much. We really, really appreciate you coming on this program. You are tuned into the 2024 Budget Hour, supported by Gambia Participates through the U.S. Embassy, and I am your host, Yusuf Taylor, commonly known as Flex Down. With me in the studios today are Mr. Kanteh, Omar Kanteh, from the Ministry of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment. You see, this time I made sure I said the full name, so that people understand just how much work you have to do. So I think we can say MoTIE going forward, so that it's a little bit easier. So I will now turn our attention to the construction of this special economic zone, which is also another very important issue. In the budget speech, the minister did say, in the realm of industrialization, the ministry is actively pursuing the construction of a special economic zone along the Trans-Gambia Bridge corridor. A feasibility study has been commissioned to assess the viability of this project, and efforts are underway to mobilize resources for the necessary infrastructure. Furthermore, the ministry plans to establish 3 additional agropolis to strategically focus on value chain crops along recognized trade corridors. So, is there an idea, will this special economic zone begin operation in 2024? Or?
Not really. I don't think.
Do you have an idea?
Let's say, let me give you a background, a detailed background on this thing. Although it's a little bit clear from what the minister said, one can see this thing. If you look at the National Development Plan, the current National Development Plan, that is the Green Recovery Focused National Development Plan.
Iriwa.
Yes, the Iriwa. The ministry's mandate revolves around several areas, both trade, industrialization, standardization, export promotion, etc., etc. So what we did at the ministry is we look at all these 7 priorities that we are responsible for, and we try to develop a proposal that will be able to address all of them together. From employment. You know, one of the things that we are also responsible for employment creation. We have this target of 150,000 employment example.
Exactly.
So how do you make sure you address all these things? So the ministry came up with a concept.
Yes.
That's where this proposal is coming from.
Okay.
We commissioned a study, a feasibility study, and it's almost at the tail end.
Yes.
We had the company, they've already done the data collection. They are right now writing their final report before it will be validated. We've also developed a project proposal already. A full project proposal is developed for the operationalization of that special economic zone and the agropoles.
And they've identified the locations?
They identified the locations for the agropoles as well as the SEZ. The SEZ is clear from the statement.
Yes.
It's around Trans-Gambia corridor.
Yes, exactly.
From the other border to right to the other border.
Yes,
border. That's why it will be located. And we'll be using land available around those things to promote a special economic zone. So the idea is this.
Yes.
If you have something like this,
Yes.
this will be a game changer for the Gambia. It will be one of the biggest programs that the Gambia has ever embarked on since independence. We call it an economic transformation agenda for the Gambia. And we'll be able to rural and urban issues, youth unemployment. You can address all these things within one program. So this is not a simple thing that we will say is funds are available or you use one investor will give you down funds for this thing. No. Right now the ministry's main focus is this program and we want this to be a national program, not Ministry of Trade's program. My peers always tell me that one. We have now gone beyond because for this to work, agriculture has to be fully involved. Ministry of Finance has to be fully involved from the OP, and everybody must be involved in it to make it functional. So that's the agenda, and we are hopeful. Probably by the time you complete the feasibility study this year, you start doing the resource mobilization. Probably before 2025, 2026. We're hopeful that we will start something on the ground. Okay. But we are not saying that this thing will happen.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. It's not like it can happen if something else comes up, but
a miracle happens.
But with the way things are, exactly. With the way things are, we look at this thing as a program, and it's going to be a 15-year program. As of now, the way we are looking at it, conceptualizing it, it's going to be a 15-year program to have it all in place. Government would look at putting up the infrastructure, the hard infrastructure that is necessary, the roads, the demarcation of the land, the electricity, the water facilities, etc. While the private sector is expected to do the investment. So it's a major program.
So there were some words used there, like agropolis. Perhaps you can please explain that concept and what kind of crops are they considering for this program? Obviously, I'm talking about
an agropole is like a it's an investment that looks at crop production and transformation up to the plate, from the production to the plate. So you have an area where they will promote the production of a certain crop, provide them with quality materials, train the farmers well in that area, encourage them to do that kind of an investment. Then you have some marketers who will collect those products from that one and bring them to a processing plant. They will process them from that plant and also have them packaged and also be able to sell it both domestically and internationally. So that's how the agropoles work. So the idea is we're going to have three of them. One of them will be in West Coast region, and the idea is that it's going to target fruits. What fruits? But it generally fruits in general, because we think West Coast is the fruit basket in terms of that. So the one in CRR will be focused on rice production, and the one in URR will focus on vegetables, horticultural issues, etc. That's the target.
Okay.
Yes.
I see. That's good. Do you have an idea how much is actually invested in this? Is this the same as the SEZ, or are they two separate things, or will they be is it like?
It's one. Right now, it's in one project.
Okay,
it's a one project proposal.
Together with the SEs.
Yeah, it has
so
covered.
they're all in.
Yes, I think the estimated budget is around $200 million.
Okay, wow.
For the whole thing.
Wow.
And we are targeting certain donors for it. We've already started engaging those donors.
Dollars. We're not talking about dollars anymore.
No. That's why I said this is a transformative agenda. This is not like a normal projects that that the ministry works on or that the Gambia has been mostly engaging.
Indeed. Thank you so much. You did touch on the employment issue. We cannot have a program with you guys, obviously, without talking about employment. It is such an important aspect of your work. And the government did highlight that, most importantly, they launched the new employment policy for 2023 to 2028. Now, my question, is the ministry actively monitoring the new employment policy, which has now been in existence for a year now? How many jobs have we created in 2023, for example, sir?
That's a major that's a tough question.
I know you are the right guy to answer.
That's a tough question,
yes,
because we set up a system,
yes,
and every day, this is what my minister is insisting on. We have to get a system that can track job creation. We don't have the system yet.
Okay.
So what we rely on is two approaches. We have a system, we call it as labor management information system.
Yes.
And we collect data relating to advertisements and the number of people that are, jobs that are advertised, etc. You track that system through that one. It's an administrative system. It's completed now, and we are about to launch it and roll it. It's not even launched. It's more like rolling it out now, having all the institutions and stakeholders to log in and put in their data to make it operational. That's what is left for that one. The second one is we rely on what we call the labor force survey. This labor force survey used to be done every 5 years. But with ministry or with GBOS, we have an understanding with GBOS, and now GBOS will do this every year.
Okay.
So it means every year you can have data as to how many people are unemployed in terms of percentage. What is the unemployment rate? What is this? What is that? You can have those things in terms of percentage. You might not be able to have data on exactly this is the number of jobs we have created. The labor force does not tell you that one. So we have to use both ways to be able to know from the labor force. If you look at the indicators that we are tracking at the NDP, we want to see a reduction in the unemployment rate.
Yes.
A 5% reduction in employment rate.
Yes.
We want to see creation of new jobs. So you have to be able to know how to track both of them. So the labor force survey can tell us the percentage reduction or percentage increase at the end of the 5 years. We will be able to know that one. But in terms of actual jobs created, that will be a challenge. And we are working on ways and means of ensuring that we can do that tracking through the LMIS and through other means. But some of the other things that the ministry is talking about, we put in structures for that one. We have a technical committee. For job creation, it's not ministry's mandate to create the jobs. Our role is to provide the environment to the private sector, to the government, to be able to promote. And we manage, especially labor management, to make sure that the employees are not discriminated, the employees are not overused, etc. etc. That is the labor management. That is our responsibility. But the creation is the whole government system and the environment that is going to be created. There is a task force, a technical committee that is set up, as comprising of highly experienced private sector people. I think they should be even conducting another meeting tomorrow. Those are the ones looking at means of ensuring that these jobs are created by government and the private sector in general. What